Hello and welcome to Turn 5, that's Game Turn 14, August 18th to 21st of GMT Stalingrad 42 Caucasus campaign. Getting interesting, I think. Terrible turn relatively for the Germans last turn, lots of ones rolled in combats, lots of armour steps being lost, so hopefully they can pull it back, although I think the strategic situation is reasonably advantageous for them. We're getting to the point where I thought on the turn where there needs to be this decision about a split in direction between the German forces going either east or west. So I think that analysis is really required here. So it's all about victory points as it is at the moment. So and at the moment we have, I believe, 4 victory points for the Germans. There's 1 point for Tikeretsk, 1 point for Armavir, and 2 points for Maikop here for 4 points. We need to get a hell of a lot more now to the west. So over here, there is let's see, Krasnodar here, which should fall fairly soon. Then after that we have Taman over here, 1 point, and then we're into Novorossiysk here, which is in the mountains, or part of the mountains there. So there's not actually that many points to get from that area anymore. I mean, Taman is very useful because we get reinforcements through it. But beyond Krasnodar, we've only got that, and then we're into the mountains here. On the kind of central front, I suppose as it is, we're looking at this this road here leading to Apsa. So that's another point again. So again, 3, 4 points here, and then beyond that we're down to Sochi here, which is another point. So it's hardly rich pickings, shall we say. Over on this side, we have so get across as far as we can. Sorry about the slightly long range on this, but we have Voroshilovsk here for 1, Pyatigorsk here for 1, Nalchik, and then we're beyond the Terek River here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and ultimately another 7 there. So certainly the VPs, there's much more rich VPs to be had over on the east side here, and so the splitting of the forces to gain these VPs needs to be decided soon, because as you can see, there's a long distance between the two fronts. So if you need to switch units, you're going to be wasting time getting units transferred here. We're not going to get the rail net completely up and running to be useful to transfer units here. So there's quite a bit of work, I think, now in just working out what to do here as far as German unit placement. I suppose the Soviets have a similar thing here, where we're deciding, do we send reinforcements through the sea routes up to the ports here to try and protect this a bit more. I think that's already kind of made. I don't think we need to provide any more reinforcements on that side, or do we use it to build up the Terek River here? Because in the middle, there's really nothing here to worry about. It's all mountains, and I don't think there's much worth bothering doing anything in the middle. So I think that decision's kind of already made, and that probably happens a bit quicker than on the German side. But I think certainly on the German side, I think this is about this turn. Next couple of turns needs to be a clear kind of direction to two different directions to the advance rather than the broad front. Okay, so that said, anyway, let's get going. So one thing to note is this turn is the last turn of the air support for the Germans. It disappears. It does come back late in the game. It's away for 8 turns and then comes back. Now, by the time we get to the end of those 8 turns, there will be weather rolling. There may be mud appearing, which will affect other things other than the aircraft. But it's just that we're losing that shift, which we can pretty much apply anywhere we want to on the board. That's going to disappear. Also, the reinforcements are going to start drying up now. So we've had our kind of push of the glut of the units coming on the board from the north. We're going to have to increasingly rely on getting things through from Taman. There is the odd reinforcement coming in, but they're not brilliant quality. They're not something that they're kind of rear area troops mostly, which of course the Soviets are going to get considerably more. So the initial rush of units has ended, coming from the north, as I said. So in the initial phase, we'll ready the air unit, of course. We'll have that ready and available. We place reinforcements. Well, we don't, because there aren't any. And then we have our replacement, which is an armour replacement. So as we said before, there are a lot of damaged units here on the armour side, which we could do well to rebuild. And I think we shall. I think the two candidates really hot here are over here, this remnant here and that remnant there. Now our strong armour is all over here now, with the Viking division and the 13th Panzer division here. However, we are short on this side. We only have the Stug battalion and that remnant, so I think it really should go to the west, and maybe possibly transferred later across to the east once it all gets bogged down. It does take that unit out for the turn, and so yeah, it's a difficult decision. So I'm going to go with 23rd Panzer here for the upgrade. I think it's in a better position to have an effect on things, and I think we do need the armour to get to Taman at least, and yeah, to deal with this area. So I think it's reasonable to use that one, and also we do have another avenue across the river here, which doesn't necessarily need the tank unit to be involved, the Panzer division to be involved. Okay, so that's our replacement, and then of course our resource point, which will be our ubiquitous mobile supply unit somewhere up here, and that's it for our initial phase. Yeah, we can't flip this over yet. They have to be stacked together, so that will be done in the movement phase, and then at the end of the turn that'll be flipped over. Right, yeah, movement phase. Okay, so that's the movement done. We have 3 attacks, one here across this minor river from these 2 hexes, 7 of 4, 2 shifts, which will be the artillery support unit and the air unit. So that'll end up being, well, it'll be a 3 to 1. This one's 24 to 8. Without the armoured unit, it was 23. So I have thrown the armour unit in and crossing fingers here. It's 24 to 8. There's no shifts here at all. So that's 3 to 1 as well. And finally over here, this NKVD unit here. 18 to 6, 3 to 1, 2 shifts, 5 to 1. Let's see how these goes. Hopefully for the German side, our string of ones will cease. So I think left to right is fine. So we'll start over here. So yeah, 3, 4, 2, slightly better. DR2, possibility of a determined defence, but it's in clear. So probably not going to do much with that. But they live to fight another day, and I suspect we should go back here and try and just protect this road here. Let's get rid of all the extra stuff here. So that has broken through the Germans across the Kuban River in a major way. So yeah, it's once we get that past this marsh. I mean, the main problem was this was all halved because of the marsh, and yeah, it's oh, I've just realised that's wrong. Yeah, actually that was 8 defence because it was all behind the minor river. So that was 7 to 8 with the 2 shifts. So it becomes a 2 to 1, and a 2 is here we go, the exchange. That changes things. So we can lose one of these, doesn't matter which one, and I suppose the tank unit is the other thing that's going to go. So we continue as we left off, and the tanks are not doing well, and we're stuck in that position. Yeah, well, that was good. Over here, hopefully Krasnodar, something better is going to happen. That is a 3 to 1. And, yep, just checking that's correct. Let's see how we go with this. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, 3 to 1. That's an exchange, and there goes the tank unit. Oh my god. Okay, and this is terrible. Gosh, 2 exchanges. Well, you know, when you run the attacks at that low odds, but you kind of have to do it. City and major rivers and marsh, it gets to that kind of level, but gosh, it's tricky down here, really tricky. Okay, and finally we have our hopefully slightly more fruitful attack over here. So this is our 18 to 6, which is a 3 to 1, going up to a 5 to 1 for the elite tank dot here. So there we go. Now the roll comes through. 5 to 1 on a 5 is a DR4. DR4, brilliant. Okay, so doesn't take any losses, but is in full retreat. So where do we go? Well, Cherkessk is an idea, but it's a DR4. So yeah, it's is that all we can pop down the road? Either way, we're going to leave this road open. that DR4 is only an advance 3, and I think probably what's going to happen is there's going to be an attack up here, certainly, because that's yeah, we can certainly do that. Failing that, of course, we could try and attack here. The problem, these are in rough now, so that there's no tank bonus on these, so we might content ourselves with that, in which case it's unlikely that we'll have to worry about losing Cherkesk. It would be nice, but 3 won't get them there, so I'm happy with coming back, say, to here. 3, 4, and I believe that's a full retreat. So we keep as far away as possible from those Panzer units. And now we have a breakthrough group here. So we have 18 to there's 3 disrupted disheartened defence, so that's 1.5 effectively. Excuse me, sorry. And that kind of puts us off the chart, really. So we're on the 7 to 1 there, with a shift for Raft, so 6 to 1 against that. We're doing a breakthrough combat here, penalised because we didn't go through the actual defence hex, so that takes 2 out of the 3 advance to do that attack. So 6 to 1. 6, great. Okay, defender shattered, so off he goes to the eliminated box, and we have 1 left of the advance. We'll just yeah, I think possibly ready to blitz down that road, and so we'll force the Russians to cover that. Yes, so this is going to lead to Voroshilov getting isolated, which is fine, and we'll have to beat our way into that as well as the city, and it's a full strength elite guards division there, so there's something to be said for actually pulling that guy out. Is it worth keeping that for the defence down at the Terek? Something to be said for that. I mean, it's a thorn, but you know, a flipped standard rifle division would be a thorn as well. I don't think we want to get the Panzers anywhere near that, so we will be waiting for other units to come and take that out. So I might actually move that in the movement phase, just so we can build a better defence down here towards Pyatigorsk. Over time, won't immediately be able to do that, but yeah, fine, okay. So that's all our combat phase. Recovery phase, we can remove our disrupted there, and of course the replacement marker for the tank unit down by Taman has that comes off camera, and on the supply phase we get to move our rail marker another 2 spaces, and we can flip the 1st Panzer Army support unit there, and also here we can do the same thing for the 3rd Romanian Army as well. Great, and I think that's it for the German turn, really. No supply problems at all, really. So yes. Right, well then we go on to the initial phase for the Soviets. Soviet initial phase then. Um, no air units, of course. We have our reinforcements. Interesting this time, but we have our standard rifle division, the Trans-Caucasus ones, which can come in on the entry areas. Come on, focus, there we go. But this time we have a Guard Corps, Infantry Guard Corps, Red Guards. Yeah, again, that's going to come through our Caspian Sea transit box. So way off to the west, and our Trans-Caucasus one, we're looking at all the reinforcements going down here now, I think. So let's place that, I think, here. Now, I think that's probably the last of the... Oh, not quite. There's one more of those Trans-Caucasus units to come on. It's an NKVD unit, but a flip one next turn. Okay, using replacements, our replacements are back to our standard infantry, and I think we'll bring back a flipped rifle division. We might as well bring back the elite one. Why not? And again, it's going down in the Terek region here, in Zone J. So that'll do for the replacements. A resource point. Yeah, actually, let's move this across here so we can see what's happening. It's a little... Actually, I will move everything across to... Yeah, getting some glare here, so that looks a bit better. We'll complete the fort, of course, and I think we'll need to place a new one, and that new one, thinking about it, we'll have to start building kind of a line here, so maybe here, I think, to just get the river crossing sorted, and then we could build one, say here, to build a Zoc pond, although the Zoc pond doesn't... Yeah, we'll need... If we want Zoc ponds along the river line, then we would need units both here and fortification space here, but... Oh well. Yeah, we'll start with that anyway and see, see if the Germans get there in time to stop all this building. Right. Now on to the movement phase, of course. So no follow-up combat phase, of course. Onto the recovery phase. and mostly it's in the middle here to look at the disrupted units. And I think that's all we have. Yeah. Oh yes, down here. A little bit difficult to scan from a distance because the NKVD units are white and the disrupted markers are white, so you can mistake them from the camera distance, from where I'm looking. Right. So recovery phase done. We're on to the supply phase, and just checking supply. Again, I think we're easily okay. Yeah, just wondering about Krasnodar here. If we focus in on that. So, 2, 3, 4, 5 is limit, and then we need to hit a road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's fine down here. So yeah, that's certainly within supply. So of course we have Voroshilovsk here just to look at, and we can go down this way, so we're okay as well. Fine. So supply phase done. That's the end of the turn. So again, we've had our problems with panzer losses, but again, still making progress of sorts, although it's grindingly slow to the west here. And yeah, the big stack of the German units at the start of the game, you think, wow, and yeah, kind of unbeatable. Now they're dispersed into 2 to 3 groups. Don't seem quite so scary anymore. But anyway, let's see how we get on with the 6th turn coming up. That's game turn 15, August the 22nd to the 26th. And it's the first turn that we won't have any German air support. So, hope you join me for that.